Alrighty, welcome everyone. I'm Teeaboo, and I am here for your girlfriend's dead, real girlfriend's dead hours. We're here for Mobile Suit Zeta Gundam episode 37. Forever 4 was last episode, and indeed, she will live on forever in your heart, because she ain't living in reality anymore, and it's Jared's fault. Gosh, what is the tally now for how many close significant others and otherwise important people Jared has killed of Kamyu and Kamyu has killed of Jared? Are we up to biblical proportions of an eye for an eye, like returned sevenfold, and then I kill 1,000 of your offspring? Yeah, it's getting bad. It's pretty great, actually. 4's dead. It was a hell of a sequence of events that led to her death. You can say that Jared is responsible. You could say that Jamaicon is responsible. You could say that Kamyu is responsible. You could say that 4 was responsible. And you could say that it doesn't really matter. All you have now are the pieces to sort of sift through and hope that you can put yourself back together, buddy. Pat, pat, pat. Sad, sad, sad. As some of you may know, I've been drawing every day. Yesterday I drew a little house. I don't fucking know. Today I drew a sad Kamyu holding the mangled body of his girlfriend. Well, the Hyakushiki and also the Gundam reach out to try to pick him up. That's that. I put the pencil on the paper, and that's what flowed forth this morning. So that's where my mind is at, and that's where Zeta Gundam has put me. We enter into episode 37, The Day of Dakar, and all I can think is that Dakar really sounds like the name of a human fighter from a D&D campaign run by Matthew Colville. Beyond that, I got nothing. I don't know what Dakar is, where it is, what it's about. I don't know. How's Kamyu gonna be doing? Probably not great? I would expect probably not great. I mean, he can at least put this whole Cinderella story to rest, but not without some significant pain and grief and maybe a continuation of some of the standoffishness and kind of dickishness that we saw from Kamyu toward the kids and toward Fa, although we saw ways of resolving that, those kind of can slip away pretty easily when you're in the grips or in the throes of despair. So we'll see how this affects your boy going forward. I imagine it won't be fun for him. But there's also the potential that maybe he'll be able to understand where Char is coming from a little bit better, given that he just lost someone who he was kind of close with and wasn't able to really formulate a relationship with effectively. So maybe they'll be able to see more eye to eye. Kamyu does say to Char, "You have no choice but to reveal yourself." And there were some interesting comments on that front that I think are worth taking a look at. So for the first time in a long time, let me pull up the comments on the last couple of episodes, and let me see if there's anything worth grabbing. Hans Peter writes, "The Kamyu-Jared rivalry is kind of really funny to me, because they keep unintentionally killing each other's friends/loved ones, and neither of them really tries to. Jared really hates Kamyu at this point, and tries to kill him every chance he gets, but he never intentionally goes for the ones he ends up actually killing. Meanwhile, Kamyu doesn't really care about Jared. He hardly knows that Jared exists. And only... most of the acts that Jared has taken have been from inside a mecha, and they've had no, they haven't gotten close enough to be able to communicate." So Kamyu just knows that the enemy at large has killed his mom and his dad and his girlfriend, and Jared is just seething, and Kamyu's like, "I don't even know who you are, man. Who the fuck are you?" Meanwhile, Kamyu doesn't really care about Jared and only kills the people fighting against him, who multiple times end up being the ones Jared cares about, right? Because everyone on Jared's side throws themselves bodily at Kamyu, and Kamyu's like, no fighting me, stop it, I'll kill you. Excellent. Angel James writes a big one, and this is the one that I wanted to talk about a chunk of. That's the Devil's Machine. If the Psycho Gundam is the Devil's Machine, that would make 4 the Devil. Kamyu wants so hard to save 4, not only from the Tetons and from herself, but from the war. He wants people like Fa and Sarah and 4 to not have to fight in wars, but 4 has been modified and manipulated for the sole purpose of war. The only version of 4 that's unsullied by war is the person in 4's missing memories. he's sort of trapped in a delusion, even after Namikar Cornell tells him in no uncertain terms that, quote, human memories cannot so easily be removed or returned. He still believes that the AU can somehow return her memories. I use the word delusion because from the interview Tomino did with Ano, one of the main themes of Zeta is coming to terms with reality. Kamyu trying to make 4 someone she isn't is him living in a false reality. 4 is and will always be 4. Forever 4. When Kamyu tells Quattro, you have to return to being Char Aznable, what he's saying is, I had to come to terms with reality. It's time you did the same. Can't keep living as a lie. And last episode, Quattro tells him that 4 will possess you. And when 4 dies, she says in his head, now I will live on inside you. 4 will forever be a part of Kamyu from now on. Yeah. Cinderella turns back into a pumpkin and then gets dropped off a 4-story building without a safety net. Splat. But the idea of Cinderella, this grand blue-haired princess that's just the perfect one to fit the glass slipper, is gonna stick in Kamyu's mind forever. And it might cause him to overlook the real thing that's really in front of him, right? We say that he's turned to face reality and come to terms with it, but has he? I don't know. He just said that in the immediate aftermath of a traumatic event. Whether he can actually face reality moving forward is a deeper question and a more difficult one. How will he treat Fa moving forward? Because 4 has been in the way, has been an obstacle to Kamyu's relationship with, you might say, the properly arranged relationship with the aspect of the feminine as represented by Fa, who is both his childhood friend and clearly the person meant by the story to be his eventual love interest. 4 has been in the way of that. She's been this manic pixie dream dalliance girl that he is obsessed with and can't ever actually achieve any kind of relationship with. And now she's gone, forever gone. And so he has to give her up. But can he? Or will she, as you say, live on forever in him as this seed of what if? That's fucked. and that's about right? And maybe that's something that we all have to handle in ourselves. There's always the one who got away, probably a dozen of them. Every schoolyard crush that you've ever had that you never followed up on is one of the ones who got away. Are you going to move forward into future relationships holding on to the doubts and failures, big air quotes around that, the missed opportunities of the past? Or can you observe those relations, and are you going to try to seek to fulfill those through the relationship with a real person? Or are you going to treat that new relationship like it's its own separate new thing and cut yourself off from those desires, memories, impossibilities of the past? I don't know if you can. We'll see if Kamyu can. As a metaphorical representation, it's an interesting question. And it sets out an interesting landscape to answer that question, maybe. Yeah, cool. Continuing on, Jared in this episode is amazing and hysterical. He decides to chase after Kamyu without alerting the base because he's Jared. When his gun gets taken away, he throws a dagger from his boot at Kamyu. Think about it. Every day he woke up in his base, put a dagger in his boot just in case he runs into Kamyu. And then he misses. And then he fucking misses his you had one shot, one opportunity, dude. After Kamyu and 4 escape, Jared chases them down in a jeep, then gets out to point a gun at them. Kamyu disarms him. Right, he fully manages to walk up to him, kick it out of him, full judo throw him over the shoulder, and throw him off a cliff. Jared not only survives this, but climbs the mountain until he reaches the base, one-legged as well. He's still crippled. He limps away without a crutch to the mobile suit hangar, climbs into a partially completed mobile suit, the Bjarland. And the best part is, the hatch falls into place. It was just luck. If Kamyu in the Zeta had kicked the Bjarland a little harder, the cockpit hatch would have just flown off. Oh. It's such a comedy of errors. It's so beautiful. It's like the villain in a series of unfortunate events where just awful things keep happening to him, or the worst end to the worst Bond villain where everything about their plan foils itself. man, just what a comedy of errors surrounding Jared's attempts to kill Camus. He's got to figure out at some point that this kid has plot armor, right? He has to. He has to. Wait, my sad picture. Stay sad, buddy. Stay sad. All right. Good. Thank you, Angel James. I really like this comment. It actually, the portion about you have to return to being Char Aznable and talking about coming to terms with reality really genuinely helped me frame some of that portion of the episode because I wasn't sure what it would mean otherwise. So I really appreciate that. We'll leave that there and move on toward episode 37. So, what's next? I don't know. I have a fear. My fear is that, as has been the case before in Gundam, we just won't address what occurred in the previous episode. We'll just move forward as though it had not occurred. And we've sort of justified that in the past as like, well, it's war and you don't have time to sit around and mope and grieve. But had like a dozen episodes of Four's existence affecting Camus materially. Removal of 4 should affect him materially, and there should be some aftermath from that. Let's see if that influences the day of Dakar at all. So I've got episode 37 up and ready to go. 2 versions, picture-in-picture in the description, timer on YouTube, beep beep timer to count you down. Patreon exists. Early access is kind of back, but cheaper. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just trying stuff. And I'm pissed at my hair. It's a problem that happens every time I wash my hair. It just doesn't stay because there's no grease in it. And I'm not going to add grease to it. So let me put a thing on my head and I'll look like an idiot, but it'll be better than being unable to see. Thank you, Shoelace. Okay. That being done and looking dumb, I don't care. Let's watch episode 37. Beep beep timer. Sad recap music. Yeah. Successful rescue. Couldn't stop. Wouldn't stop. Okay, what's Dakar? Who's Dakar? Get in Dakar. Get out the car, Ace. I'm gonna kill him. Oh, Dakar da. Tip, my lord. Sorry, a leased territory held by the Federation? Okay. No reason to hesitate at all. Might be some reasons to hesitate, Jared. Alright, we're going down. Are we going down by choice? Yeah, probably. Huh? What are we planning here? What are we doing? We doing an operationification? We're talking about it. We're talking about the thing. Oh, wow. Yeah. But why must I follow in the footsteps? Fighting is meaningless in itself, but it's part of our history? Are we bringing about what? She forgets. Okay, that's almost definitional. Forgetting about the agony of the past. That is like definitional for what an old type is. Whoa. That's a weird shot. Feels very off model. Okay. Mm-hmm. I don't know what to think about any of that. That was fascinating. Ah, it's Baltorchica! Oh, it's a cop stop. Uh-oh. What item? Mysterious, mysterious, mysterious. Hello! Everything's perfectly in order. Kawaiso. Oh, whoa, yeah. Smack. Ho ho! Wow. Yep. Oh, wow. We got a Tetons member? Whoa! And infighting. Yeah, wow. You're gonna just blast a dude for getting in the way? Whoa, we're introducing a new character. All right. Mr. Swooshy Hair. I'm just gonna draw his hair. Mr. Swooshy Hair. Addis. Wow, he does not look the same from the side at all. Whoa, different person. Must have a righteous armed force that can properly manage it. Man, this episode has gotten complicated. You are a mouthpiece for a greater organization, huh? I bet you could. I bet you do. Uh-huh. Apparently we will meet again. Yeah, let's hope. We're really putting Jared in a position of authority here. Ah. Grabs him in the shoulder. Ah! That's too perfect. Oh, you're going out with an injured shoulder? Yeah. Woo-hoo. War is a part of us, a part of history, but avoid meaningless battle. Ah, gentle touchdown. What's up? Thanks, buddy. Thanks for the ride. New. Allies in high places. Gotta hold them off. Oh, fun cut. Oh. Fuck off. Eh? What? One who bears the same phrase, aspirations of Zeon. Ooh. Ooh. Okay. That's some info out. Wrongfully believe that they am for what? Wait. That was Sayla. That wasn't Beltorchica. Whoa. That was a lot in half an episode. What is that announcement going to do? Will it reach enough people? Will it change anything? Destroy our own communications facilities to prevent the broadcast from going through. Okay, fair enough. So we're setting up Addis as kind of a benevolent Tetons who's just a part of an evil organization, but not himself evil. I'm not going to fight you. Going after his friend, too. Dun, dun, dun. Almost Superman. Dun, 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 dun. Mike! He's helping him, too. Full of desire to keep the speech going. Redirected away from... I'm done talking to you, though. What? Hmm. Dun dun dun. He's got a point. I don't know exactly what the point... Leave Earth, live in space? Let Earth rejuvenate itself? Star Trek style? Something like that. Everybody better act in accordance with our policies and not cause more cruelty. Will Jared become the poster child of destructive evil? So will he be the first follower, the one convinced, and he'll turn? Keep the camera running! Give me that shit! The city itself. We can twist and frame it. Correct, that is what they do. But that in itself is evil. Very good. Yeah. Confusion, confusion. Fucking Jared. We must not interrupt this broadcast. All right, Addis. Ooh. Man, the animation in the episode feels kind of like it's all over the place, but the through line is amazing. If I understood it, it would be. They might be the kind of group described in the broadcast. Hey, we got a turn. A heel-face turn from Lieutenant Addis. Excuse me? Utto. Wow. Wow. Shit. I'm sorry, who are you? there are so many people. Keep spinning it. True. Damn, Jared. Oh, your whole squad turns against you. You're on the wrong side of this one, buddy. Yes, you are. Yeah, we're being shown on TV. We can't do the cruelty right now. Oh, hey, buddy. What's up? Even though we're using fiber optic communications, huh? What's up, Sayla? Mwah, yep. Kitchi! How stingy. Yeah, reveal the face of Shar Aznable to the world. Hi, buddy. Will it really work? Freedom versus responsibility. You've taken up the mantle, man. Sacrifice of self. Cheers. Salute to that. Holy macaroni. Grim. New types and old types to some extent? Maybe. Does he mean that metaphysically? The production values of this episode are weird. Because they're solid in some places, but also really rough in other places. And it's particularly odd for how pivotal socially an episode it seems to be. It feels almost like it was outsourced, or, you know, that would be the term that I'd use for a modern show. I don't know if that's the case here, but a lot of the character art is a little off, and in that last scene with Beltorchica and Camille, both of them feel like they're not themselves. Their faces are all kind of weird and not terribly expressive either. You know, we were talking just 2 episodes ago, the episode with Rakoa was incredibly articulate, incredibly crispy, clear facial features and expressiveness. And this episode is lacking a ton of that. Okay, so we'll stop this here. I was just saying as we faded out that I feel as though a lot of the facial animation in the episode is really not up to snuff. This sequence between Beltorchica and Camille, for example, it feels very, very thin, very lacking. Like barely the broad strokes of the characters, just like the color of the hair is right, and that's almost it. It's a little odd, and it throws me off a little bit throughout the episode, because a couple episodes ago we were looking at some really crispy, really articulately drawn stuff, and in this episode it feels like our characters are kind of off model throughout. And that's weird given how pivotal the episode feels in terms of dialogue and meaning. I think the writing in the episode works very effectively. We set up that Char is going to be doing an interesting, something different. He's not going to be able to be going out in his mobile suit. The other pilots will be. And we set up this conversation between Amuro and Camille where we give room for Camille to answer the question, can you fight? Which is to say, how you doing, man? Your girlfriend died last episode, however long ago that was, maybe yesterday. How you feeling? You know, put out a feeler there and question his current state of being. And he says that I feel better when I'm moving, which is right on. I feel better when I'm distracted from it, and it's obvious that crying about it won't change anything. So figured that out. And Amuro tells him that's important to know, and it took us 7 years to figure that one out. Damn. And off we go. And Camille gets to ask him, why must I fight? Which was the question that Amuro had to answer all the way through. And the answer that he gives back is a strange one. Fighting is meaningless in and of itself, but it's contributed to the development of history of humanity. And so without fighting amongst each other, we would be extinct. And I don't know exactly what he means by that. It seems true on the face of it, like fighting between nations has led to a lot of the technological developments of humanity, etc. Is there deeper meaning there, or is it just that? It's partly true of the varied kingdoms of Europe. You know, there are theories that state that the geographic boundaries between different nations that generated the close together geographically, but also separated from each other multiple kingdoms, multiple nations in Europe are part of what led to conflicts between those nations, but conflicts where they couldn't really effectively wipe each other out, and so they battled against each other for generations, and those generations of hatred turned into generations of innovation, turned into massive degrees of innovation. It's a theory. It's not necessarily an accurate one, because it also led to the deaths of untold numbers of people, people who might have gone on to live long lives and invent tons of things, but it's unclear. We ask whether Beltorchica has come to that same realization. Going to Dakar is something that she wouldn't have done in the past, and he says quite specifically, this jumps out at me, well, because anytime we use the terms old type and new type in a way that gives context clues as to what the fuck Tomino actually means when he says them is of interest to me. He says she's an old type, and then as though it's definitional, she forgets about the agony of the past and jumps into the next thing, which echoes what's said quite a bit later. Maybe if we could all empathize with the past, etc., even those we've lost would be able to be reached. Something like that. She forgets about the agony of the past and jumps into the next thing. That lines up with some of the ideas around new type that we've had as like empathetic, and it frames, if that's what an old type is, then the reverse would be true of a new type, that a new type is one who is bound down by the agonies of the past and uses those for altering and changing decisions for the future. I don't know. How much longer will humans be like that, I wonder? Well, if new types are you, then not that much longer. I'm glad it's you. Otherwise, I would easily get shot down. A little bit of respect for each other is pretty cool. You have no reason to hesitate, even though I'm still unable to make a decision on my own future. The general public is always looking for a hero, says the hero of the general public. So you're telling me to play the role of the clown. All I'm saying is it's your turn to take center stage. The script hasn't been rewritten or anything. We're still playing out the same play. It's just your turn to stand. He says, Amuro. People change. It's natural. And I think he's referring to his own change. Or is he referring to Char's change? It's unclear. There's a lot of missing clarity. Okay, we get ourselves a nice traffic stop where a couple of cops, police, military MPs decide that they're going to quid pro quo sexually harass Beltorchica, as well as be total assholes. The putting the card back into your pocket and then patting the titty is exactly, it's right on. It's excellent. By which I mean horrible and wrong and perfect. Exactly the kind of thing. I wondered if we'd go this route when we start to introduce the character. He's chewing gum and sort of leaning forward and taking up space. We go straight into it. Beltorchica does a pretty good job of playing it off. You can find a way, if you know what I mean. And in walks the Noble Tetons member, being chivalrous, you might say. Now, Beltorchica might say, hey, I have this, I've got this covered. But you gotta, there's an idea here. The idea is that even in the grips of this totalitarian destructive regime, there are people whose fundamental nature is benevolent, generous, protective, and they believe themselves a part of a regime that is upholding those ideals, and they're wrong, but that doesn't mean that they're wrong, you know? And that's sort of the idea that we present with Addis here, is that he seems like a good guy on the wrong side of the war, fighting for what he's been taught to believe in, chewing up and swallowing down the propaganda that's come at him, but fundamentally is not trying to rape girls on the street, so that's something that at least puts him a step beyond these thugs. And moreover, he puts himself into a position of danger. Both of them have guns and are, it's shown in the next scene, willing to use them, gets brained in the back of the head with a firearm, gets back up and keeps on going. But almost gets shot until this guy stops in front and goes, no, hold on, he's with the Tetons. Chillax. Can I get a ride? Sure. Federation's soldiers aren't all like that. You seem sure about that, Lieutenant Addis. At least there aren't any guys like that in the Tetons, and we know that that's exactly not true. It's precisely inaccurate. So it demonstrates something interesting about the way that propaganda works, and about the way that one can be convinced that the greater flow, the tide that they're a part of, is something aimed toward good when it might not be. And the same might be true on the side of the Ayug in many places, in many extents. It gets messy. It gets really messy because people are people are people are people. And people wearing one uniform are still people, and people wearing the other uniform are still people, with everything that comes with that. You can't just lump all the Tetons together and say, all Tetons, evil Nazis trying to kill everybody, murderous monsters. Nor can you lump all Ayug together and say, all Ayug, saints, glorious, full of love and life, and all people who are given a piece of authority are on the side of justice and right. It becomes pretty clear as we move through the episode that a lot of the people on both sides don't know what they're actually fighting for. Well, maybe they know what they're fighting for, but they don't know what the broad impact of their group's battle is. So that raises some fundamental questions about fighting. Like, maybe you shouldn't. But what do you do if you can't help it? And Kamiyu asks those questions in the beginning. So it ends up being really interesting. All over. This is an era of confusion. Confusion. We must have a righteous armed force that can properly manage everything. Righteous as defined by who, based on what principles? And she questions whose words are those, which is even better. Better than questioning the nature of the words or what they say. Those aren't your words. Whose words are you repeating? For whose propaganda are you a mouthpiece? The words of the great Gemitov Hyman. His Excellency Gemitov. So, a demonstration of perspective, because we know exactly who Gemitov is. Better than this guy does. This guy knows a propagandistic representation. We've seen the coward flee and leave children to fight his battles for him. In so many words, right? We saw him flee that base and destroy 4. We know who Gemitov is. And to some extent what he's fighting for. And how cowardly and cruel he can be. We must have a righteous armed force that can properly manage everything. Says the seeker of power. Says the unconscious follower following the seeker of power. Ooh, ay. I wish I could talk a little longer. Yeah, check out the news. I'd love to hear your comments. We'll meet again. Okay. Begin the descent, and off we go. They want to throw Dakar into confusion for political purposes, true? I think this is the funniest scene in the episode, and I wish that it were played out for laughs. I really do. My man, you're going out even with a fractured shoulder bone? Hang! Crunch! No, you're not going out, man. Crunch! Ugh. No, stay behind, Addis. Stay behind. Avoid meaningless battles is the order of the day. I like the way that we did this meetup on the savannah. This is pretty cool. The mobile suit drops down, we deliver the char, Bill Torchica's there for the pickup. It feels kind of Super Spy-esque, and I dig it. I wish there was more Super Spy stuff here. It'd be very fun. Okay, got all this stuff into place. Bam, wham! The running cut is cool. As he runs and sheds all of his layers of masks, you might say, up until he heads up here. We take the stage by force with guns pointed at everybody, which is not a great look. It's not a great look. And it's why later on he has to be like, yes, we were, and totally like qualify their situation. It's like, yes, we were wrong to use force to take over this assembly. However, we broke the rules for good reasons, and you just cut your own argument off at the knees, but apparently it doesn't matter. Apparently it has worked regardless. Forgive me for this sudden act of insolence. I am Quattro Bagina. I am also, however, Char Aznable. The Red Comet! I want to talk to you as one who bears the aspirations of Zeon. Not as Char of the Principality of Zeon, but as the son of Zeon Daikun. Damn the Ayug! Who the hell does he think he is? So he expresses the very complicated politics of the past The will of Zeon Daikun is different from that of the greedy Zabi family. Zeon did not build the Principality of Zeon. And the Tetons are doing as they please with the Earth Federation's forces. It is evident that they are even more malicious than the Zabi family. All units, battle stations, turn that shit off, and they're all still listening. We went to space so that Earth would not collapse under the weight of humans, and then the people who went to space continued to expand their living space. Sayla starts listening. As a result, history shows that humans wrongfully believed they enhanced the powers of humanity itself. Humans wrongfully believed they enhanced the powers of humanity itself, creating forces like the Zabi. Grammar. I don't know what that's supposed to mean. As a result, history shows that humans wrongfully believed they enhanced the powers of humanity itself, creating forces like the Zabi family. Let me go straight up going to the dub. Unfortunately, their success filled them with dreams of glory, creating evils like the Zabi family. It means even less. Fuck. Damn it. What does it mean? What does it mean? We mustn't repeat that history. And Sayla looks up sadly. Enemies! They're coming to destroy the thing! They're trying to buy time for the broadcast. Why can't humans believe that they could expand their capabilities by going to space? And I love this moment for Jared where he goes, but that's what we're doing! That's what the Tetons are doing! The party line on both sides claims to be carrying that legacy forward. Kind of. Interesting. Humans must not pollute the Earth. What? The Tetons are comprised by people whose souls are pulled by Earth and are about to devour it. Okay, let's go destroy the communications facilities. Be careful with your rifle above the city. We continue to demonstrate that Addis is a good guy as he's thinking about civilian casualties. This is not the time to be fighting. Stop, I don't intend to fight. He warns them that he'll fire. And then when Mike starts falling toward the city and Addis goes to pull him up and they can't, Kamiyu goes in and uses his actions to do the same. Pull them up and redirect them out away from the city. I have no intention of attacking. You're full of it. Nope. And he only leaves here. Listen to the broadcast, then you'll understand. And indeed, his listening to the broadcast changes everything. The time has arrived for humanity to leave this nest. Must humanity fight against each other and further pollute the Earth? The destruction continues. Earth must be restored to its natural state as a cradle, and humans must establish themselves fully in space. Otherwise, Earth will no longer be a planet of water. I don't know what that means. Even the city of Dakar is about to be engulfed by the desert. Now, fair enough. Desertification is a problem. It is a problem. You know what the solution to desertification is? It's actually, there's a pretty excellent TED Talk by a wildlife researcher from South Africa about how we could use large grazing herds of ruminant animals to totally alter the ecosystem and prevent desertification. It's fascinating. Anyway, kind of a total aside. That's how exhausted the Earth is. All right, they're being drawn in. We got a camera. Show just how vicious the Titans are. I don't know if they really get that point across very clearly, but they do prevent them from acting quite as vicious once they find that they're on TV, right? They've emerged from previous Earth Federation forces and label any opponents as evil, but that in itself is evil. There you go. Now you want something relevant to the modern day? They've emerged from the remnants of a righteous battle and label all opponents as evil. But that in itself is evil. On each side, insofar as there are sides politically and socially, on each side, everybody tries to link their historical tendencies back to something righteous, some righteous battle of the past. to frame themselves as the next stage of some grander movement, and then to point at anyone who opposes them and say, you're evil, wrong, threatening the freedoms of our nation, threatening the lives of our people. A whole group trying to claim the legacy of the great protectors, the veterans of, let's say, World War II. That's a pretty broad one for modernity. As that begins to fade into the back of our collective memory, we sort of revitalize it. You turn it into a justification. We follow in the footsteps of the great protectors, fighting for the freedoms, fighting to protect. Or perhaps on one of the other sides, we follow in the footsteps of the great civil rights movements, establishing freedoms for life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness for people to whom those were not granted because of bigotry and misuse of power. We stand for that, and anyone in our way is a bigot and a monster and evil. We stand for protection, and anyone in our way is a bigot and a monster and evil. Regardless of what you say you stand for, if you follow it up with anyone who stands in my way is evil, you're doing the evil. Uh-oh. Bingo. Char said a good there. And then spin. The Tetons have decided to begin a battle regardless of this gathering, because of this gathering. They wouldn't have started this battle if you hadn't attacked it and tried to take it over by force. So, there's some ability to justify on either side a little bit. But the one in front of the microphone is the one who gets to spin things. And Char does a good job of spinning things. They've emerged from the previous Earth Federation forces and label any opponents as evil. But that in itself is evil, and we can say that it's the cause of humanity's decline. And this touches Addis, and he sits in his mecha and he goes, I don't understand. What am I fighting for? What's right or wrong? And that's an unintended consequence of the writing here, I think. We live in an era of confusion, says one of the characters much earlier. It's unclear what you should be fighting for. See, here you are. You're a person, you're in a uniform, you're in a mecha, you've got immense power. You've got the capacity to wield multiple weapons and cause immense destruction. And you don't know what you should be fighting for. That's right on the money. That's right on the money, isn't it? What's right or wrong? Nothing is right or wrong, but thinking makes it so? Doesn't seem to hold up. Alright, so I'll blast the city and destroy the fiber optic communications bay and fuck the consequences. That doesn't seem right or wrong. That doesn't seem right. It seems pretty wrong. What's right or wrong? Now, destroy the communications facility. And he brings him down. I see we have a traitor in our own armed forces. Big explosion right next to Beltorchica. Such balls. The Tetons, they might be the kind of group described in the broadcast. This might be accurate. Okay, I cannot allow it to explode in the city, and he gets tricked by his own altruism, right? He goes to try to prevent this thing from blowing up in the city and gets entrapped by this guy's trick, using his own weakness to pull in the empathetic adversary. It's like the moment in a fight where you'll go, give me a hand up, and then you stab him. Oh, you yield? Great, stab. Yes, I yield. Nope. And Jared hits him with the same idea, just judges him for his weakness. How clumsy of you. I didn't expect to part with you here. And Kamiya's like, who are you, man? Who are you? Why are you trying to wreck the assembly? If the Tetons are correct, you should be able to prove it on stage, in front of people. You should be able to argue it out. If your ideas are proper and correct, then there should be no problem with putting them up in front of everybody to judge. And Jared hits back with, the Tetons are all about power. Those who have power will conquer everything. It's one way to frame the conflict. Might will make right in the end. Stop it! And he blasts. And that blast turns into hitting the building accidentally, and we spin it. This is how they go about their business. The Tetons are trying to destroy this place, even though their allies are here too. He's moving in for the kill. And he's stopped only by the fact that others are watching. Hey, hold on. We have orders to stop fighting. We're on TV right now. These are orders from above. Please withdraw. But we're playing right into the AUG's hands. Indeed. The Titans are a group of murderers. We're all murderers. Drunks. We live on licking each other's wounds and then kill each other. Reminds me of the line from Ava, which comes from, I think Asuka says it. Adults licking each other's wounds. It's disgusting. I think that's Asuka. We live on licking each other's wounds and then kill each other. Monsters. He's in love with himself. And then we hit, the airwaves are jammed with irregular waves, which we know because it was established earlier is not the case, because they're using fiber optics for the comms. So it's just an excuse to take this broadcast off the air. Slow draw in on Sayla, grips her knee, and we get a little bit of a celebration. We did it! And we get a little bit of a moment for these two. I give up my freedom in exchange. We're trying to take them all to space. It's a big undertaking, and there will be at least 1 or 2 human sacrifices. You saying I'm a sacrifice? Maybe it runs in your family, man. Click. Oh, spicy. Spicy ending. Spicy ending. Yeah, drink the bitter drink. We have ourselves a nice little relaxed conversation. Are people destined to end up hating each other through misunderstandings? No, there are those who can envision what is ahead and those who can't. If you're too desperate, there are times you'll end up completely losing that vision. I can agree with that. I'm moved by your words. I think all people can sympathize, but that sort of thing takes time. However, should a time come when all people sympathize for one another, I feel that perhaps we can even encounter those people who have passed away. It's like a belief in an impossible transcendent ideal for the future. One that would lead to real connection in a way that transcends space and time. What a weird baby of an idea. Weird idea, baby Camus. Weird idea, baby Tomino. This episode is weird. It is jam-packed with philosophy on the political side, philosophy on the personal side, and some interesting stage play representation of different characters standing up for what they believe in broken, malformed, twisted, propagandized ways, and having their ideas changed by a piece of propaganda that we get to watch. Reminds me a little bit of the previous propaganda representations that we've had in Gundam, where we had, I think it was Gira and Zabi standing up and doing the big speech and very all Nazi arrayed and all very much in line with what we would expect. This gives us a much more modern approach and ends up having a much more interesting effect on an individual human being whose mind being changed changes the outcome of the entire battle in the form of Lieutenant Adis. I think that's fascinating. I don't know what to think about it other than I think it's fascinating. I really look forward to some comments on this one so that I can have a couple of other minds and people who've already integrated this information help me incorporate it a little bit more effectively. I'd love to see what stands out about this episode to others. And if anybody has any information on, first, if it feels off to you in terms of animation quality, I'd like to know that. And if you understand or know why it feels that way, I'd like to know that too. Beyond that, thanks for watching. What an interesting episode of Zeta Gundam. The day of Dakar indeed. A turning point, it seems. At least Char took his mask off. We'll see what the echoing ripple effects of that will be. I don't know. Okay, we'll wrap there. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next week for more Zeta Gundam. Peace.